What's going on, you guys? My name is Nick, and welcome back to the channel. And if I look very, very tired, I 100% am. It is Sunday the 29th, and this upcoming week, there is just so much going on that I have to record 3, maybe 4 videos today. And it's early in the morning. We're getting a really good start, so here we go. So what you guys are about to watch is a video that I recorded in the early parts of 2021. It is my complete Blu-ray collection video. It's just I uploaded it so early on in the inception of my channel that nobody has really ever seen it before, and it's a pretty cool collection, I think. But I just want to let you guys know that it is going to be the camera's not going to be of the quality that it's on right now. I do have a good microphone, thankfully, and I do talk to the camera as if I know what I'm doing. It's not just some awkward kid talking to the camera like this. But there are movies that I have purchased since the making of that video that I am going to show you guys right now. It's not a whole lot, so that's why I'm not remaking the entire video, because that would literally take probably an entire day on that one video alone. So I'm just going to edit it a little bit, make it flow a little better. But with all that said, here are the movies that I picked up recently, and this is all from Black Friday 2022, pretty much. We have Alex Garland's Men. If you haven't seen this one, I do recommend checking it out. It 100% will not be for everybody. This movie is very, very weird, but I love my weird things. A more mainstream, suitable horror film is Ethan Hawke's The Black Phone. If you guys haven't seen this one, I think you will 100% like this one. It's just more accessible than a film like Men or Hereditary, stuff like that. Up next is one of my favorite shows of all time, and if you haven't seen my video on The Boys, go check it out. This is the complete first and second seasons of the show. I'm so excited to try and purchase season 3 if that ever comes out. Season 3 is my favorite season of this show thus far, but seasons 1 and 2 are just as good. They are bangers. If you haven't seen The Boys on Amazon Prime, you need to be doing that. Up next is a movie that really meant a lot to me when it came out, Moonlight, and the fact that it won Best Picture is amazing. I do think La La Land was the better film of that year, but this movie emotionally meant more to me. Up next is one that I got from Half Price Books, actually, that I saw on sale. One that I hadn't seen at the time, but now I have, and that is Wes Anderson's Moonrise Kingdom. It's not one of my favorites of his, but it's a very solid film. I don't think he has a bad film per se. Maybe he has movies that are more repetitive than other ones, but I wouldn't say he has a bad film. Now, I'm not sure if this one was actually in my video or not, but if it wasn't, I have X here. This is Ty West's film from last year. I absolutely love this movie. There are some people that just hate it, that just weren't into it at all, and I get that, but I think it's such a tight runtime that even if you're not into it, it'll be over fairly quickly. But it's just, I don't know, to me it moves very quickly, it's very entertaining, and it's written very well too. Up next we have a bunch of 4Ks. We have Turning Red. I completely forgot I bought this movie, even though it's literally in my top 10 of 2022. I don't know, all of the Disney stuff I watch on Disney Plus, I kind of forget that I own them. But I'm glad I do, because the picture quality and sound quality on these discs are miles better than what you can get streaming. Up next is another one from my top 10 of this past year, Robert Eggers' The Northman. Easily the most accessible Eggers film so far. I think my favorite is probably The Witch. The Lighthouse is very, very, very good. It's very polarizing. It's a great film to watch and think about afterwards, but it's not one that I could just throw on for entertainment value like The Northman. Up next is a film that a lot of people hate, and I'm sure a lot of you watching this are going to hate it, but I will defend it to the day I die, and that is Lightyear. I was all over this movie. Does it fall apart towards the end of it? Yeah, I would say so, but the first hour of this movie is really, really good. It's like animation nomination worthy for Best Animated Feature of the Year. I will agree that the ending kind of does fumble a little bit. Up next is one of the greatest films of all time, and if you haven't seen this movie, I don't really think you can call yourself a film fan. You can dislike it all you want. That is 100% okay, but as long as you've at least experienced Jurassic Park, then I think you can say you're a film fan. This is probably my favorite Spielberg film. It's just, every time I watch it, I'm transported back to the very first time I saw it as like a 5-year-old kid, watching it on my shitty little TV, the old VHS that my dad used to have. It's just, I love this film. It's just such a shame that every movie after it, except for Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, were just garbage. Absolute garbage. Now, I do like the first Jurassic World film, but the last two, man, like, what the heck were those? And the last film that I purchased most recently is one of my favorite movies of all time, and is my favorite movie of 2022, and if I didn't give it away already, that's Everything Everywhere All at Once on 4K. Oh my gosh, this was only $15 when I bought it, and I'm like, this could have been 60, like, you know, like an Xbox game or a PS5 game, and I would have bought it. It's just This movie is so important to me. I love it. People call it overrated. It's not. It's not. But you guys, with all of that said, that was my most recent pickups. I am going to show you guys kind of a bit of like a speed through of my DVDs, because in the original video, I don't record myself actually talking about the DVDs, because if I did that, then it really would be a 4 or 5 hour video. I have a lot more DVDs than I do Blu-rays, 4Ks, and Steelbooks. But don't worry, I do talk about the Blu-rays, 4Ks, and Steelbooks in depth in the video. I just kind of speed past and show you guys one by one in the shelf the DVD collection. So I hope that's okay for you guys. If not, tear me up in the comments and call me whatever you want. That's totally fine. But without further ado, guys, here is my Blu-ray and DVD collection. All right, first up on the list is the Joss Whedon's Justice League. I think this is a pretty cool looking steelbook, not gonna lie, especially with the black and white comic art that it has on the back, and the front of it is also very comic booky, drawn in that sort of way. But yeah, no, very ass movie, very terribly ass movie. Yeah, man, no, let's just. Up next, we got Fight Club. I have not seen Fight Club because I know what happens at the end of the movie. I know the twist, or the twist of the movie, right? So I'll get around to it one of these days, but I only own it because I saw it at Best Buy for like $10. Up next is a Marvel film that when it originally first came out, I thought was very overrated, and that is Black Panther. This steelbook is fucking awesome. You got T'Challa on the front right there, and then you got him on the back, and then when you pop it open, you get silhouettes of every single character in the movie. I love that shit. I live for that shit. Also, if you're trying to pause the video every time I open a case and trying to get my codes, trust me, they will not work. I take very good care in making sure that the very first thing I do when I buy a brand new Blu-ray 4K is to scan that code into my Vudu or my Movies Anywhere account so I can watch that little number next to movies you own bump up by one more number. Up next, we have Captain Marvel. A lot of people don't like this movie. I love it. I like it a lot. I think it's pretty funny. I think it's a great time when you're watching it. And now it's not a Scorsese film. It's not fucking David Fincher. It's not David Lynch. It's not anything like that. No. But to me, this movie is a lot of fun. Plus, I love Brie Larson regardless of what the public opinion of her is. I don't give a fuck what that is. She is a beautiful woman, and I love her in everything that she does. Whether it's this, or it's Room, whatever it is. Whatever it is. She's amazing. Also, the background art on this is not very cool, not very impressive. At the end of the day, it's just a casing for a movie. So, it's not that big of a deal, just as long as the movie works and plays well. Alright, up next we have Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Endgame is definitely the more underwhelming steelbook here. I do think that the background art is very cool on the Endgame steelbook because it's Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. They have their silhouettes on the back of it. You can't see it because of the discs that are in there, obviously, but there you go. You have Tony Stark and you have his signature at the bottom for Robert Downey Jr. and then vice versa with Black Widow. I do think that's a pretty cool background for it, but man, just talk about a bland cover. And I mean, I get what they were going for. This is, you know, all the Avengers that survived the snap, the original OGs, and then this is the people that were snapped away in Infinity War. I get what they were going for. They could have done it a little better. And then the Infinity War steelbook, in my opinion, is just much better. You get Thanos with all 6 of the Infinity Stones being a complete badass. My cat is walking in here. How you doing? Did you hear that? What? You want to say hi to the video? Oh, shit. Yeah, no, she doesn't fuck with it. Here. Yeah, and then on the inside you have silhouettes of every single character in the movie, just like the Black Panther steelbook. Yeah, no, I definitely prefer Endgame as a film over Infinity War, but steelbook-wise, case-wise, Infinity War is the better case. Up next is another duo of films that is A Quiet Place 1 and A Quiet Place 2. Only difference between these two, besides, you know, one being the original and one being the sequel, is that A Quiet Place 2 is on 4K and this one is on Blu-ray. I didn't upgrade to 4K. I didn't upgrade to 4K until about 3 months ago. But man, can I tell you guys that upgrading to 4K, it is a big difference. It's a big life changer, not gonna lie. Everything just looks more full, crisper, detailed. It just looks so much better compared to just a regular Blu-ray. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen either of these movies, check them out. Neither of them are insane steelbooks per se. I do think that the steelbook of the 4K edition of the original Quiet Place is the best out of the available steelbooks that you can buy for the Quiet Place franchise. I just, you know, I unfortunately don't have that because back when that movie came out, I didn't have a 4K TV. So, you know, what was the point of spending an extra $20 on a disc that I wouldn't even be able to use? Up next is Michael Bay's 13 Hours and the Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. This is based on a true story. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I do think this is one of the most bland steelbooks I have. Another one like this is The Wolf of Wall Street. You can see that they have that kind of same design to it. You just have the character on the side, and then on the opposite side of that character, there goes one of my favorite steelbooks. I hope the disc is okay. Well, it should be. It's a steelbook. I think they're very lazy designs of steelbooks, but both movies are very excellent, very good films. Wolf of Wall Street's for sure better, not gonna lie. But, yeah, no, both movies are exquisite. I guess I'll do the one that I just dropped, and that is my most recent purchase, which I got a couple days ago, The Eternals. I fucking love this movie, you guys. This is my favorite MCU movie, and maybe one day I'll make a ranking of all the MCU movies, and I'll elaborate a little more as to why Eternals is my favorite MCU movie. Or maybe I'll just make a video entirely dedicated to it. But yeah, you pull out the digital copy code, and you got Arashim, the judge, hovering over everyone. And man, guys, this movie looks so fucking good on 4K. It looks so good and crisp. Mwah, I love it. I did not just kiss that fucking thing, dude. Up next, we have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings on Steelbook. I got this for Christmas, and it's a pretty underwhelming looking Steelbook. But the disc itself is a terrific transfer. I love the way that this film looks, and especially the back art on the steelbook is Wenwu. It's Wenwu and Shang-Chi battling it out. It's very cool, very epic. If you guys haven't seen Shang-Chi yet, because I don't know, you just haven't gotten around to it, or because you don't know the character, definitely give it a shot. I love Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Up next is Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead. This is fucking hilarious. My grandma bought this for me, and I sat her down with me to watch it, and she loved it just as much as I did. She laughed her ass off from beginning to end. Alright, you guys, next we have Michael Jackson's This Is It. I remember seeing this movie only because of the meal that I ate afterwards. I went to McAllister's, and I fucking threw up so much, dude, afterwards, and I think that's a little bit of the reason why I don't like McAllister's anymore. But yeah, no, this movie, I don't remember a whole lot about it, other than I ate McAllister's afterwards. But, yeah, I definitely need to watch it again. It's been so long. And I'm missing a disc as well. Jesus, man. My only issue about this, obviously, is that it's a DVD steelbook. I don't know how many of those actually exist. As you can tell up there, it says DVD. I don't know how many full-on DVD steelbooks exist that doesn't have a Blu-ray or anything inside of it, but here's one of them. Alright, up next is a TV show, one of my favorite TV shows, The Walking Dead. This is the complete third season on Steelbook. I saw this in half-price books, probably about 7 years ago, and I picked it up. I already had the third season on both DVD and Blu-ray. It's just, I am such a Walking Dead fanatic. I collect everything. Like, let me show you guys. This right here, this is Negan's baseball bat from The Walking Dead, right? I love everything that has to do with The Walking Dead. I will acknowledge, though, that the show has fallen off the past 4 years, ever since season 7. In the early years, man, The Walking Dead was the shit. But to me, it still is. I love The Walking Dead, and I always will. Marvel, The Walking Dead, and Harry Potter are my 3 things, man. Those are my 3 things. Alright, we got 4 left, so let's go ahead and get these 2 out of the way, because they're a part of the same franchise. That is The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2. Man, Part 1 was just set up for Part 2, and Part 2 was nothing but payoff that didn't feel earned, if that makes sense. Which is crazy to think, because this movie was all about setting up the payoff that this movie was supposed to pay off, but it doesn't. It's weird. I don't know. I love the Hunger Games franchise, though, a lot. I like it a lot. I understand and I recognize that they're not as what Martin Scorsese would consider cinema, but it's definitely a lot of popcorn fun. It's dumb fun. I can already hear, like, the hardcore Hunger Games fans in the comment section just like, you're a fucking idiot, dumbass. Up next, we have Marvel Studios' Thor Ragnarok. This steelbook is fucking badass, dude. You got Thor on the front, and then you got his helmet on the back. And then when you bust it open and you take out the digital copy code, you got Thor and Hulk going at each other. That's fucking awesome, dude. The art that Marvel puts into their steelbooks, for the most part, sometimes you have some pretty boring ones, like the Shang-Chi one or the Endgame one, but typically they put out really cool steelbooks, and not to mention just the side of it, you know, the spine. That's another thing about the steelbooks I love. The spines of the steelbooks, they look like books. They look like novels on your shelf, and I fucking love that shit. My very last steelbook is a steelbook that I actually completely forgot I owned, and it's a steelbook that has a slipcover. It's the only steelbook that I own that has a slipcover, and that is American Psycho. Oh yeah, baby. I love this movie. Christian Bale's performance is one of the best that he's ever delivered. And of course, you get Patrick Bateman's business card as some of the art in the steelbook. The steelbook itself isn't too crazily complicated with its art choice, but it definitely does stand out among the rest of my other ones just because of its sleek white and silver look to it. But yeah, no, like this sitting on my shelf stands out so much because of the glint that the slipcover generates from it. So I don't know, I love it. I can't believe I forgot I bought this, and I bought this fairly recently, like a month or 2 ago. All right, you guys, let's get into the 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays that I have. If you guys haven't noticed yet, what I'm doing is I'm starting with the steelbooks, and then I'm doing my regular 4Ks, and then I'm doing my Blu-rays, and then the DVDs to close the video out. So yeah, let's get into my 4K collection. Let's go ahead and start off with the collections that I technically have. So right here we have the complete Daniel Craig James Bond collection on 4K. All of these movies look fantastic. Just don't watch Quantum of Solace. That movie's pretty fucking ass. Next we have the entire Matrix trilogy. I'm still debating if I want to buy the Matrix Resurrections just because I'm a completionist. And honestly, if I'm going to be frank with you guys, I didn't entirely hate Resurrections. It just definitely wasn't as good as any of the other movies. And that's saying something because Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions are two of the most hated sequels in cinematic history. Alright, up next is a film that every film or auteur or student needs to see. If you haven't seen it yet, 2001: A Space Odyssey, you guys. This film looks fantastic on 4K. What I was trying to do was I was trying to hold myself off from seeing this until I was able to catch it in theaters, because that's just, that's the way it's meant to be seen. But I just couldn't hold off anymore. There was a sale for this for like, I think $15 on eBay, not eBay, Amazon, and I picked it up and I watched it, and I loved it. Did I understand everything in it 100% the first time? No. Will I rewatch it again to try to get a better understanding of it? Most certainly, yes. Alright, up next we have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This is an Edgar Wright film, right? This movie is so good. I fucking love it. It is definitely not for everyone, especially with the specific style that Wright uses for this. This is the closest thing that we've ever gotten to a actual video game movie. You know what I'm saying? Not like a movie based on a video game, but like the world of video games is brought into film with this movie. It is so good. I love this movie. And I'm not a big Michael Cera fan, I'm not gonna lie. I think he does come off as a little bit annoying, but in this film, he is amazing. And then you got, oh my god, what's her name? Mary Elizabeth Winstead, or Winstead, however you say her name. She's also amazing. I think this is the first role that I saw her in. And then after that, it was 10 Cloverfield Lane, and that was a movie that was like, oh yeah, this lady can act. She's a phenomenal actress. Up next is my favorite, hands down favorite movie of 2019, and that is Parasite. Guys, Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, if you haven't seen this movie, I'm not even gonna tell you what it's about. You just need to sit down and you need to watch it. You got some homework to do. If you haven't seen this or any of Bong Joon-ho's other films, that is a terrific director to start with if you want to get into international filmmaking. Other than him, I'd say Akira Kurosawa, the guy that did 8.5. God, what was his name? Up next is a movie that surprisingly I haven't seen yet, and part of me is putting it off because I want to see it in theaters for the first time, but another part of me just hasn't had the time to get around to it, and that is the 4K edition of Apocalypse Now, particularly the final cut. I believe every single version of the film is on here, because there's like, how many versions are there of this movie? There's like 20. Yeah, it looks like there's the final cut and the redux, and then the theatrical cut, I believe, is what is in this. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet. I've heard nothing but great things about it, so I know that when I do eventually watch it, it's going to be a great time, and I'm very excited to. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Alright, up next is probably the best looking 4K movie I've ever seen in my entire life, and that is Mad Max Fury Road. This movie looks fucking fantastic on 4K. If you haven't seen, like if you're trying to demo 4K for a friend and you need a good movie to demo, Mad Max Fury Road, 100%. Show this movie to them, anything, which I think this movie was shot in 2K, which makes it even more impressive that they were able to make this movie look 10 times better with 4K, with the 4K transfer. Up next is one I picked up from Half Price Books for $5, I believe, and that is The Bourne Identity. I haven't seen this movie either. I know, one of the greatest action movies ever, apparently. Yeah, no, I'm just kind of savoring the flavor on this. I saw the Jeremy Renner Bourne Identity movie when it came out, or The Bourne Legacy, I believe is what it was called. But you know, I don't really know why I haven't watched this yet. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Maybe I will. Up next is one of the most recent releases on this list, and that is The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad I fucking love this movie, guys. And then not to mention Peacemaker, his brand new show, just adds to my love for this movie. James Gunn is such a terrific storyteller. I thought Slither and Guardians of the Galaxy were brilliant. This takes that to a whole nother level. But I do understand why some people don't like this movie. I definitely do. It's definitely, sensory-wise, not everyone's thing. But for me, this is right up my alley. This is everything I wanted. This is everything I wanted this movie to be, and more. Alright, up next we have The Green Knight. When I saw this movie in theaters, walking out of it, I didn't like it whatsoever. But after a couple rewatches, I've come to really adore this movie. I've come to really like it. This movie is so good, and the underlying message of time and what that does to a person is it's very poetic. I haven't picked up on every single meaning or message that the director was trying to convey with this film, but upon further rewatches, I'm 100% confident that I will. All right, up next. Oh God, we're getting like these past four titles have been like most recent films. So yeah, Free Guy. If you guys haven't seen Free Guy, I believe it just dropped on Disney Plus today, actually. So you guys can watch that if you are a Disney Plus subscriber. It is such a great film, such a fun surprise. Like, the trailers looked fun, but I wasn't expecting anything great out of it. But man, this movie really knows how to pull out your heartstrings. It is so good. Check out Free Guy if you haven't yet. Up next is a MCU movie that came out 6-7 years too late. Black Widow. This movie is honestly, it's not even that bad of a movie, but because it came out after her character died, any and all stakes and levity to this film is completely thrown out the door because you know that she dies in Endgame, right? I don't know. I bought this film because I'm a completionist. I love to have every single movie in a franchise, so obviously I'm collecting all of the MCU. I had to pick this up. I couldn't go for the Steelbook though, just because I just couldn't justify buying a movie that I'm probably honestly never going to watch again. Alright, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Everyone's seen this, right? This movie looks fucking phenomenal on 4K. I already owned the Blu-ray of this film, but I love this movie so much that I just had to upgrade it to 4K the second there was a decent sale for this movie, and I believe I picked it up for $15. So yeah, no, this movie is a triumph. It is a masterpiece in the comic book genre. If you have not seen it, please check out Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Up next is the actual Justice League we were supposed to see, and that is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I love every minute of this 4-hour masterpiece. Well, maybe not a masterpiece, but I love every minute of this 4-hour film. Every second is well spent. I love every moment of this movie from beginning to end. It is crazy how different of a movie this is to Joss Whedon's Justice League. It is insane. Up next, we have Wonder Woman 1984, one of the worst DC movies ever made. I'm not even going to talk about it past that. It is just fucking terrible. What a letdown. Up next is The Ten Commandments, a film I haven't seen yet personally, but I am so excited to see it. There's a reason I asked for this movie for Christmas. There's a lot of hype behind it, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm so excited to. I just want to get to like the biggest 4K OLED TV possible that I can watch it on when I actually am ready to watch it. All right, up next we have 2 superhero movies. We got Shazam and we got X-Men: Dark Phoenix. One of these movies is better than the other. It's this one. Shazam is so good, you guys. Dark Phoenix is fucking terrible. We're not even going to talk about it. But Shazam was such a great surprise. I am so glad that this movie was good when it originally came out, because if it wasn't, then, dude, I don't know what the DC EU would look like today. Because DC really needed that win when Shazam came out. And, okay, I'm not going to lie. Not everything about Dark Phoenix is terrible. Just a majority of it is. Up next, we have a Stanley Kubrick classic, one of my favorites, A Clockwork Orange. I haven't checked this out on 4K yet. I'm savoring the flavor. I think the last time I watched this movie was like probably 6 years ago, and that was my first time watching it. So I'm savoring the flavor for this movie. I'm probably going to wait another 2 or 3 more years before I pop this into the 4K player and I actually watch it from beginning to end. But man, it's just one of Kubrick's best films. It's commonly held as one of the best book to film adaptations as well. Alright, up next is a film that's written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and I didn't realize that until after watching Fleabag recently, and that's No Time to Die. I love the way Daniel Craig's James Bond's character wraps up in this film. It's just the villain was, God, it was so boring, and it was so unmotivated. Like Rami Malek, he's a terrific actor, but it's not enough to just cast a good actor. You have to have a well-written villain in order for that villain to jump off the screen and to actually antagonize the viewers. Got about 4 left, so up next we have one of my favorite 4K Blu-ray transfers, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. When this movie first came out, I didn't think I was going to like it whatsoever, but I went to the theater with a bunch of friends, saw it, and lo and behold, it is my all-time favorite Spider-Man movie, right up there next to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Alright, up next is another movie that I haven't seen that's going to surprise a lot of you, and that is Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan. Now, like Apocalypse Now and 2001: A Space Odyssey, I wanted to save this movie for a theatrical experience, but I don't know when that's going to be, when I'm going to be able to get around to it. So I bought the 4K. I'm just waiting for the perfect night to watch it. A nice stormy, rainy night, all the lights off, got some popcorn, and a soda in hand. Yeah, no, I'm very excited to watch this. Alright, we got 2 left, so let's go. Let's start with Darren Aronofsky's A Requiem for a Dream. If you guys ever are going through a tough time with substance abuse, pop this movie on, and by the end of it, you're going to be 100% sober and never wanting to touch a piece of paraphernalia ever again, just because of the way that this story is told. It is so brutally honest and graphic. I love it. I love Darren Aronofsky. Alright, last but not least is directorial snub Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Yeah, Denis Villeneuve didn't get nominated for director this year. I'm a little salty about it, as you can tell, but yeah, no, this movie at least got nominated for Best Picture. It is so fucking good. I am just, you can see me nerding out right now about how much I love this movie. If you haven't seen Dune, guys,
please check it out. This transfer onto 4K is 100% excellent. It is so much better than streaming it. If you guys can buy this instead of streaming it somewhere, please do so. I swear to you, I promise to you, it is worth the price difference. Alright. It is most certainly the next day, but here we go. We are back at it. I'm going to start showing you guys my Blu-rays now, and then after that, I will show you the DVDs. Alright, so first up, we have 30 Days of Night. This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I remember seeing this when I was, like, probably 13 years old, and this is, like, the first horror movie that, like, genuinely scared me. I don't know, maybe just because of the look of that vampire right there, dude. He's just terrifying, and I love the way that they look in this movie as well, just the vampires, and the whole premise about a town. I forget where it takes place exactly, but pretty much the town, every year for 1 month, there's an entire month full of just darkness, and pretty much the plot of the movie is that this like coven of vampires attack this town, and they have to survive for 30 days of night. Yeah, me describing it is definitely not doing it justice. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it immediately. Alright. Up next is one of 2019's best films, and that is Sam Mendes's one-shot masterpiece, 1917. Yeah, what can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said? There's a lot more movies to talk about, so let's just move on. I mean, not to disrespect Sam Mendes. I mean, we all know it's a terrific movie. Up next, I believe, is 2018 release. Is one of my favorite movies of that year as well, A Star Is Born. I haven't seen any of the originals of this, unfortunately, but I really don't feel like I need to. This gives me everything I want out of a romance film. This is, I think this was my number 3 favorite film of 2018, or number 4, because 2018 was a big year for film. We had Into the Spider-Verse, Love, Simon was one of my other favorite ones, and then A Quiet Place as well. Definitely one of the best movies of 2018. If you haven't seen A Star Is Born yet, you should probably get on that. Up next is a movie that I really need to upgrade to 4K. I don't know why I haven't yet, and that is the Ridley Scott masterpiece, Alien. This is one of my favorite horror movies, just like 30 Days of Night, but I do enjoy this much more. Yeah, I mean, what can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said? There's been thousands of video essays about this movie. There's been millions of reviews on it. We all know it's a terrific piece of cinema, so Alien. Alright, up next is a very controversial movie. It is an Alien film. It is Alien Covenant. I actually really enjoyed this when it came out. It might have just been because I was a, freshman in high school when this film came out, so my perception of film isn't as studious as it is now, you could say, I guess. But yeah, no, I thought this was a pretty fun movie. It's not the best movie in the Alien franchise. I'd even go as far to say that I think Prometheus is better. Yeah, no, Alien Covenant, I think it's a solid sequel to Prometheus. It's not the perfect movie, and especially with Michael Fassbender playing the flute. It is a little weird. Up next are 2 films that I am not ashamed to have in the collection. It is Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked and The Squeakquel. I think I have the original, but I think I have it on DVD and not Blu-ray because, you know, back then when the first Alvin and the Chipmunks came out, I didn't have a Blu-ray player. But yeah, no, these are very fun movies to get very drunk to and watch. Oh, I thought I had a digibook of the second movie here. Up next are the 2 amazing Spider-Man films. I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I've been saying that since this original film came out, but, you know, now everyone's on the train ever since No Way Home came out, acting like they've been, a big fan of Andrew's. I'm putting Amazing Spider-Man 2 down because other than Emma Stone's death scene, there's nothing in that film of substance whatsoever, except for the I do like the suit in Amazing Spider-Man 2 better than Amazing Spider-Man 1, just because, dude, I get that they were going for the homemade look, but I hate the sunglasses eyes. I fucking hate that shit. I hate it. Between this, Homecoming, and Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man, I think this is my favorite out of those 3. Up next is a Dylan O'Brien film that also was released in 2018, I believe. It is American Assassin with Taylor Kitsch and Michael Keaton. It doesn't have the greatest reviews ever, but to me, this is a solid action film. When it comes to action movies, I'm not looking for the greatest Oscar-winning Godfather script ever, just as long as the action is cool, and I love that a lot of the action in this are one-take shots. You can see everything that's going on, so that immediately gets a thumbs up in my book. Up next is a very underrated Tom Cruise movie. No one talks about this anymore, and that is American Made. Going in to see this, I wasn't expecting much whatsoever. The trailers were very bland, so maybe that's a part of why no one really talked about it, because not a whole lot of people saw it. But I came out loving this movie. In fact, I bought it the day it came out on Blu-ray. I don't really do that a whole lot with movies anymore, but this one I definitely did. I think I bought this and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri together because they came out together around the same time. Up next is Ant-Man. I don't hate this movie, but I also don't love it. I feel like if Edgar Wright was directing this like he was supposed to, this would have been probably one of my favorites in the MCU. Just, I don't know. Ant-Man's not that interesting of a character to me. He's not all that, you know? Up next is a movie that I definitely need to upgrade to 4K, because every time I talk to anyone that's into physical media, they always say you need to buy Aquaman on 4K, and I haven't yet. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I fell asleep in the theater during this movie, but it's not because the movie was boring or bad. I just stayed up until fucking 4 or 5 a.m. In the morning playing Xbox with some friends, and then I had to turn around and be at the theater at 11 a.m. So I'm definitely gonna give that a watch before Aquaman 2, because from what I remember watching in the theater, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's just I was so tired, and then, you know, I ate that popcorn and I just went into a coma in the theater. Alright, up next is Charlize Theron's kick-ass Atomic Blonde movie. This is another movie I want on 4K. This is one of my favorite action movies, and it has one of my favorite actresses in Charlize Theron in it. And James, I completely forgot James McAvoy was in this. Yeah, Zoe Saldana. Like, this movie it's just pretty much a female John Wick, but dude, if you can't tell, I can't get enough of these one-shot action sequences, and that's pretty much what the entirety of Atomic Blonde is. It's just one action sequences. Up next is another movie that I wish, actually, is this even available on 4K? I don't think Avatar has been remastered yet into 4K. Yeah, no, Avatar. People bash on this movie for being too much like Dancing with Wolves. I think people just need to shut the fuck up, because every single movie in the history of movies has influences from other films, whether it's plot, characters, whatever you want to say. They're all influenced. It is not a copy and paste remake of Dancing with Wolves. It is inspired by Dancing with Wolves. Up next, we have the two original Avengers films. We have Avengers and then Avengers Age of Ultron. I find it very interesting that the Age of Ultron case is red, as opposed to the blue theme for all the other Avengers movies. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I definitely want these movies on 4K, though. All of these movies that I have on Blu-ray, I want to transfer to 4K. But guys, that is a lot of movies. I have so many. Moving on to our second pile of movies we got here. We got Edgar Wright's kick-ass, amazing film, Baby Driver. We just gotta cover Kevin Spacey there, because he's not supposed to either. Yeah, if you haven't seen Baby Driver, guys, you are missing out on 2 hours, some of the greatest 2 hours of your life. It is such a great film, and I definitely need that on 4K. Moving on is a set of 4 films that I wish I could only own 2 of them, and that is Batman and Batman Returns. And then, I mean, we can ignore Batman and Robin and Batman Forever down there. We don't have to talk about those. I wish this was a nicer set, because the discs, I don't like it when we stack discs on top of each other. I fucking hate that shit. It is terrible for the discs themselves. And there's no digital copy code in this, man. It's pretty fucking stupid. I got a shit ton of Batman movies right here. Okay, so we got Batman Begins, which is the first Christopher Nolan film. Very good movie. A lot of you have already seen it. I don't need to talk about it. The Killing Joke should have been so much better, but, you know, everyone has a bad day at the office, including filmmakers. And then Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I definitely want to pick this up on 4K. It's not the greatest movie of all time, but I do like it a lot, and I love the Ultimate Edition, which is like the 3-hour version of it. I'm a big nutcase for director's extended cuts. Up next is a movie I haven't seen yet. It is Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. I honestly don't know why I'm putting off watching this. I might watch this tonight. Up next are 2 of my favorite sci-fi films of all time, and that is Blade Runner and its brother, Blade Runner 2049. This movie, I need this on 4K. Like, out of everything that I own, other than, I don't know, I would love to have Aquaman in 4K as well, but Blade Runner 2049. Denis Villeneuve and Roger Deakins' cinematography in this film, just, it needs to be seen on a big OLED flat screen TV, 4K HDR, the whole shebang is what it needs. And then this as well, I would of course love to have this on 4K, but I don't know, older movies like that, it doesn't really bug me if I don't watch those in 4K, but like movies like this need to be seen on 4K. Up next is a David Lynch film that I didn't see until, I believe it was summer of last year was the first time I saw it, and I was immediately floored by it. I absolutely love this film. It is Blue Velvet. If you haven't seen Blue Velvet, I'm not going to mention anything about the plot, because going into this movie blind, which is what I did, thankfully, somehow, because this is one of, Lynch's most popular films. Going into this movie blind is exactly what you want to do. You do not want to read anything about it. You don't want to hear anything about what the plot's about. You can maybe read a synopsis about what the plot is kind of about, but you don't want to read anything past the setup of the film, because once this movie gets going, it is really fucking good. Up next is an overrated performance from Rami Malek. Oh my god, the disc is like sliding out, man. Jesus. Yeah, no, overrated as hell. I think this movie is pretty good. I just don't like how they twist. Not a whole lot, but they do twist some things in the story of Queen. Like specifically at the end when Freddie tells the band that he has AIDS. That didn't happen. Freddie didn't know until long after the Live Aid performance. But I understand why they did it, because it created a lot of emotional levity in the movie. So, it's a give and take. But I definitely don't think Rami should have won Best Actor for it. He put on a really good performance, but I don't know, there were so many other terrific performances that year. Up next is a movie that everyone needs to see, whether you're a film buff or you're just a human being on this planet, The Breakfast Club. I mean, what else can I say about it? Is this on 4K? I don't know if this is on 4K yet. If it's on 4K, then I need to pick it up. If not, then, it needs to be, but Breakfast Club, one of the greatest movies of all time. You can put that on any day of the week, and you can just have a great time. This might be my favorite movie of all time. One of them, at least, and that is Call Me By Your Name. This movie just means so much to me. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it. I have the book over there as well, and I'm just wanting to watch it. It means so much to me from an emotional level. It was nominated for Best Picture. Timmy should have won his Oscar that year, but honestly, I'm okay with him not, because he's gonna get one at some point. He's the next Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, there we go. I didn't think I had the third one, but I do. Cars. We got what? Oh shit, dude. That's Civil War. Okay, we have Cars 2 and Cars 3. I thought I had Cars 1 on Blu-ray, but I guess I don't. Haven't seen Cars 3, and Cars 2 is one of the worst movies ever made, so let's move on from that. Captain America Civil War, one of the best MCU movies ever made. I do think Winter Soldier is better, just by a little bit, but this movie is so good. I love the political overtones of the film. I love the debate, the philosophical debate that Captain America and Iron Man have in this movie. I'm a big sucker for that shit. Up next is Robert Zemeckis' Castaway. I haven't seen this yet. I haven't seen it. Shh, don't tell anyone though, because a lot of people would be mad. But yeah, no, I saw that movie at Half Price Books for like literally $3. And I'm like, dude, I gotta pick it up. I haven't seen it yet. Alright, up next is a movie that I had the terrific privilege of seeing in the theaters for the first time, and that is Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Man, dude, I need this movie on 4K. We bought this right as 4K started to become a bigger thing, and we didn't have a 4K player at the time, so we got the Blu-ray instead. But man, just look at the glint of the case up there. Oh, it's so good, so good. If you haven't seen Close Encounters, it's one of my favorite Spielberg films. Up next is The Corpse's Bride. I haven't watched it. To be honest with you guys, the only reason why I bought that was because at the time, an ex-boyfriend of mine really wanted to see that movie, so I bought it, and right before we could watch it, he broke up with me, so... Emotional damage! Up next is a film that I really like. I understand it's not the greatest thing ever, but Cowboys and Aliens, Harrison Ford, Daniel Craig. It is such a good, fun time watching this movie. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know what else to say. And there's also I completely forgot that there was a non-rated cut of this movie on here. That poster is just so badass. Jesus Christ, dude. Alright, you guys, I totally meant to show you this earlier, but pretty much what I'm doing is, as I'm pulling these out for you guys, I need to restock my shelves anyway, so as I'm pulling these out and I'm reading them to you, while as I put them back, I'm completely reorganizing them, and I completely forgot to show you guys these. So, these are my Blu-ray collections. I have The Godfather complete trilogy, all 8 Harry Potter films. I need this on 4K. This isn't even a fucking joke. Harry Potter is my favorite franchise of all time, and I need that on 4K. And of course, you know, you gotta have Home Alone. You gotta watch both of these every year, every Christmas time. And then the original Star Wars trilogy, which is the good trilogy, and then you get the shit piece of ass. I just realized that my lighting was off that entire time. Sorry about that, guys. Up next, we have Christmas Vacation on Blu-ray, one of the best and funniest Christmas movies ever. If you haven't seen Christmas Vacation, I don't know what you're doing. Don't watch it now. Obviously, it's fucking February. But, you know, around Christmas time, pop that in and try it for the first time. Up next is a very underrated Sam Raimi produced film, and that is Crawl. This movie had me at the edge of my seat the entire time, and I normally am not like that with horror movies just because I've seen so many that I'm just kind of numb to the feeling of being scared with horror films. But, man, this one has a lot of tension in it, and it irritates me because I showed this to a bunch of my friends, and they just kept making jokes the entire time. Up next, we have two films that, honestly, I wasn't too excited for when they came out. But over time, especially with the first Creed, I've grown to really love and appreciate these movies. And then when Creed 2 came out, man, when the whole thing went down with Michael B. Jordan and his wife and their miscarriage, that was so heart-wrenching. Up next are the two Dark Knight films, which are along with Batman Begins, are two films that I need to upgrade very, very, very quickly. That any Christopher Nolan movie needs to be seen on 4K, not on a Blu-ray. Alright, up next is Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 gets a lot of hate, but I like it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun, especially with Zazie Beetz and Josh Brolin in there. But the original Deadpool is by far the better film. It's the best one. I'm just very eager to see what the MCU, what Kevin Feige decides to do with the character, because I know that they're going to keep it rated R, but yeah, I'm just wondering how they're going to do it. Alright, up next is an A24 film that is so good. If you are interested in studying film, watch The Disaster Artist with James Franco and Dave Franco. The book is definitely much better. Divergent. I like this little digibook thing that Target usually does with their film releases. I don't have the first book of this anymore because my mom lent it to one of her coworkers, and that coworker moved away, I guess, so I lost one of my favorite books in elementary school. That's pretty fucked up. But yeah, no, the movie's fun. If you just shut off your brain, you're gonna have a great time with it. The book is definitely better. I love the book a lot, but yeah, no. Up next is a Quentin Tarantino masterpiece, Django Unchained. I mean, what more can I say about it? I don't think it's. I know I called it a Quentin Tarantino masterpiece, but I don't think it's one of his top 3 movies. You know, that's Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. I count those 2 movies as one movie just because it's one whole story. I don't want to watch Kill Bill Volume 1 and then not watch 2, you know what I'm saying? Right. Up next is a Jake Gyllenhaal film. I don't know if this is the first movie he was ever in, but it is an earlier film of his repertoire, and that is Donnie Darko. I believe his sister is in this as well, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Very, very good horror movie. Very, very good psychological thriller. If you haven't seen Donnie Darko, 100% check it out. I don't know if there's a 4K release of this yet. I hope there is, because I would love to pick that up. We have Downton Abbey, the motion picture. I haven't seen the show or the movie or anything like that. This is my mom's film. I am interested in checking it out at some point. I just don't know when I'm going to have the time to ever do that. If you guys can hear the fan from my computer, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to move the mic as close to me as possible. Up next is the original film Dune, the original Dune film. I haven't seen it yet because I really... because I'm savoring the flavor of how good Denis Villeneuve's Dune from last year was. I don't want to have a sour taste in my mouth when it comes to Dune because the book is so good. Denis' movie is so good. I don't want to watch that. I really don't. Up next is Dunkirk, a film that I need on 4K. I'm gonna say that about a lot of these movies, but I need this on 4K. Funny story about this movie. I traded the digital copy code for 3 movies. Okay, so pretty much what happened was, back when this movie came out and I bought it on Blu-ray, a lot of people wanted the digital copy code on this, and I was in this subreddit where a lot of people would trade their digital copy codes. And I said that I had Dunkirk, and I believe I got the 2016, I believe, is when it came out, that Suicide Squad movie. I got Ghostbusters 2016, and I got one other one. I got 2 shit movies, which were those 2 movies, and then I got a really good one. I think it was... Man, it might have been The Wizard of Oz on 4K that I might have gotten, but fast forward like 2 years later, I was at my friend's house, I saw that they had the Blu-ray of this, and I asked, I was like, hey, do you guys use your digital copy codes? And they're like, no. I'm like, can I just use it then? And they're like, hell yeah, man. So, it all worked out. I ended up getting the digital copy code. Up next is a film written and directed by Bo Burnham, and that is 8th Grade. This is the quintessential middle school, high school, coming-of-age film. Alright, up next we have Evil Dead, the remake. Not gonna lie, you guys, I really like this movie. I fucking love the shit out of this movie. The amount of blood and gore in this movie is so good, and it's not even just, it's not gore for the sake of gore. It has a thematic purpose in the film, and say what you want about it, I think this is probably one of the greatest horror remakes of all time. Up next, we have the 2 Fantastic Beasts prequels, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I remember still going to see the first Fantastic Beasts movie at the theaters. I was just so blown away by it, because that was the first film that I saw in Dolby Cinema, because that was the first, like, they just finished building it right as Fantastic Beasts came out, and man, that was such a magical experience. Seeing a movie that's a part of my favorite franchise of all time in a brand new theater that is designed specifically for watching the best that cinema has to offer, and I don't know, man. It was such a fun experience. Up next, we have one of Wes Anderson's best movies, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm not gonna lie, when this first came out, I was not the biggest fan of it. I'm not a big fan of stop motion animation, but the more I watch it, the more it grows on me, and my dad really likes it a lot too, so that helps too. Alright, up next we got First Man, starring Ryan Gosling. I believe Damien Chazelle directed this. Yeah, man, what a terrific film. Like, that needs to be seen. Not on a 4K TV, but in a cinema, in a movie theater. Up next is another Wes Anderson film. It's his most recent one, and that is The French Dispatch. They unfortunately don't have a 4K of this whatsoever. I believe you can buy it on like Vudu and streaming services like that in 4K. But yeah, no, you can't buy a 4K disc of this for some stupid fucking reason. It's very irritating. All right, up next, Disney's Frozen. Yeah, no, I don't really have much to say about it. I think it's a good movie. I do think it's very overrated, but you know, it's a good time. It's a fun time for the kids and the whole family. Up next is Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. This is another one of those films that I haven't seen that I'm just waiting to have a theater experience with it, but the, you know, more days that pass and go on, that chance kind of dwindles, I feel like, because I don't know when the hell they're going to re-release that in theaters. Up next is the 15 film, Godzilla. I really like this movie. It's fun. Not a lot of people are a big fan of it, but I had a really good time. Godzilla King of the Monsters. I need all of these movies. This and then Godzilla vs. Kong. I need all 3 of those upgraded to 4K. They're not the greatest movies of all time, no, but they are definitely so much fun and amazing to look at, especially on a 4K OLED TV. Up next is, I believe David Fincher directed this, and that's Gone Girl with Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike. The case comes with a little book because Ben Affleck's wife in the film, she is a cartoonist, so this version of the Blu-ray that I have has an entire book that's actually in the movie that they reference a lot. That's pretty cool. And then the case itself is a nice little digibook. Next is a classic, 100% classic that I need to upgrade to 4K, just like a lot of other movies. Scorsese's Goodfellas. Not my favorite Scorsese film. I don't want to say it's overrated, but no, I mean, that's not saying Goodfellas isn't good by any stretch of the imagination. It is one of the greatest movies ever made. It's just not my personal favorite of Scorsese's repertoire. Up next, we have Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Hansel and Gretel, the Witch Hunter. Up next is Hereditary. I rented this on 4K a couple months ago, and yeah, I need to upgrade this to 4K. I need this so bad. This is one of my favorite horror movies ever. Ari Aster is a genius. Up next is the animated How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Not much to say about that. It's a fun short, but it's only 45 minutes. It's not much to talk about. Up next is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I bought this back when it, the midnight that it came out, I believe. Me and my parents ran out to go buy this, and we came home and we watched it immediately. Harry Potter, once again, one of my favorite all-time movies, or movie franchises. This comes up. I didn't know this came up. Oh, it's not supposed to whatsoever. We have Scorsese's Hugo. Every time I see this movie and I read a Martin Scorsese film, I forget that he made this movie. But yeah, this movie's really good. If you haven't read the book though, it's a very quick read. It's a lot of pictures, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a very interesting story, and the way that the author tells the story through the pictures specifically is very, very, very entertaining, and it's a lot of fun. Up next we have Hoosiers. If you haven't seen Hoosiers, watch it. It is one of the quintessential sports movies of all time. It's terrific all around. I don't know if there's a 4K release of this. If there was, though, I'd love to have it. Up next is my favorite Hunger Games movie, Catching Fire. Next is another Nolan film that, you know, of course I want on 4K, but dude, it's like every time I see this movie in stores, the price never drops. It's crazy. Like, it's like $30 in the store for this on a 4K, but then you go on Amazon and it's like $25. It's like $20. I'm like, dude, can this drop down to $15, maybe $10, and then I can justify buying it? Or maybe, hopefully, they're gonna come out with a big Christopher Nolan 4K collection after Oppenheimer comes out. What an amazing, amazing sequel. It was definitely worth the 14, 15 year wait that we had to suffer through without a new Incredibles film. But yeah, no, this movie is amazing. I wish that the villain twist was not as predictable as it was. Alright, we got this other stack right here. Let's get right into it. Up next is Joker. Already talked about it because we have it on 4K. Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards. This is one of the... I didn't see this movie till like probably 5 or 6 years after it came out, but man, was I missing out during those 5 to 6 years. It's so good. I'm not a big fan of animated films, but when it comes to Pixar, they always knock it out of the park, and Inside Out is no exception. Inside Out is terrific from beginning to end. Up next is the Divergent sequel that is so terrible, Insurgent. It's not as bad as Allegiant, thank God, but... man, dude, did they mess up on that franchise? Alright, up next we have It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. I disagree with a lot of people. I think It Chapter 2 is a solid movie. I think it's a lot of fun. Is it as good as the first one? No, but I think that's just inherently gonna happen, because even with the book, the half with the older children when they're adults, it's not as good as when they're children. Just because when they're children, it's much more scarier than when they're adults. That's just how it is. Alright, up next we got the John Wick combo pack with 1 and 2, and then we have John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. This franchise is so good and interesting to me, not only because of the one-er action shots, but because with each film, they keep getting better. I don't understand it. A lot of franchises out there need to take some hints of the John Wick franchise, not only action-wise, but quality-wise. Up next is Jurassic World. I don't have Fallen Kingdom because that movie... we're not going to talk about it, but Jurassic World, it's a pretty fun movie. Is it the best Jurassic Park movie of all time? No, nothing's going to beat the first Jurassic Park. What that movie did for cinema alone, it will stand the test of time forever. Up next, we have the combo pack for Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2, another combo pack I picked up at Half Price Books for a solid price of $7. And how do I remember that? Because it was such a low price for 2 films that I didn't already own and were amazing. Up next is the amazing, amazing Kingsman of the Secret Service, and its incestual brother, the Golden Circle. Oh man, they dropped the ball with the Golden Circle and the most recent Kingsman. Like, I saw a set for all 3 of the Kingsman movies for like $50 on 4K, and I was really tempted to buy it, but the only movie that I would ever watch again out of those 3 is the original Kingsman. So, I don't know. I'm probably not going to buy that. Up next is Knives Out. I want to get this on 4K as well. Jeez, man, this movie is a terrific throwback to those old murder mystery films like Clue. Man, I loved every second of this movie. I knew I was going to love it from the trailer. The trailer was so good, and I'm so glad that it delivered, because after what Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi, he really needed a win under his belt. Up next is Kong Skull Island, one of the best looking covers that I have for a Blu-ray. I mean, just look at that. That's so bad. That's so fucking cool. And the movie is actually pretty good too, in my opinion. So it's a win-win. Up next is La La Land. I love this cover and just the casing, along with the actual cover for the Blu-ray itself, all the way down to the discs. Oh man, it's awesome. I did pre-order the 4K Steelbook, but I ended up canceling my pre-order because Best Buy when I ordered Dune, the 4K edition, online, and they lost my package in the mail. So I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna. I had the Eternal Steelbook and the La La Land 4K Steelbook ordered, and I ended up canceling them because I was so worried that they were gonna lose my packages, and I'm not gonna. I can just go buy the 4K Steelbook when it releases. I think it already has. I can just not walk down. I can just drive down to Best Buy and buy it. It's not like Steelbooks of La La Land is gonna be flying off the shelves like it's Spider-Man No Way Home. Next is the terrific Lego Movie animated film. I'm just so surprised how great they were able to make this movie and how terrible they were able to make the sequel. Up next is a very, very underrated alien film. Not a lot of people talk about it, and that is Jake Gyllenhaal, Rebecca Ferguson, and Ryan Reynolds' Life. This movie is so good. My grandma took me to see it when it came out, and she loved it just as much as I do. She's not the biggest movie person in the world, but you know that it's good when your grandma likes it. Literally, as I'm recording this video, the Batman reactions drop, man, and they're all really, really, really good. And I can't get sidetracked with that. All right. So we have a lot more movies to talk about, and if I give little segments for each movie I show, we're gonna be here all day. So I'm just gonna start flying through some of these, unless I have something specific to say about it. Logan, like this one, I have something specifically to say about it. This is the best X-Men, best Wolverine, best anything that Fox has put out regarding the X-Men. This is a masterpiece. It is amazing. Well-deserved screenplay nomination for the year it was nominated. Looper. If you haven't seen Looper, check it out. It's very, very good. The Lorax. Love Simon. This is a very special movie to me in my heart. My favorite movie of 2018. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We got the Mad Max. I think we have, all 4 of the Mad Max films here on Blu-ray. Obviously, they all need to be upgraded to 4K. Fury Road already was, as you saw earlier. Oh, and I forgot to show you guys. I have Sonic the Hedgehog and I have Star Trek on 4K. I was trying to collect all my 4Ks, and I just completely forgot that I had those downstairs sitting up by the TV. Up next, Man of Steel. My favorite Superman movie of all time. Henry Cavill is the quintessential Superman, if you disagree with me. I don't give a shit. Up next, we have the 2 Maze Runner films. These are really fun young adult book adaptation films. I need to buy The Death Cure. But yeah, The Maze Runner, very fun. Much better than Divergent. Miracle, I have not seen this. Miracle on 34th Street, I have seen this. One of the greatest. It's not even one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. I mean, it is, but it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Moana, terrific Disney movie. Love it a lot. Next up, Monsters University. I think this movie is very underrated compared to the first film. Definitely the first one's 100% better than this one, but I don't know. There's something about Monsters University, watching the monsters go to school every day. It's a lot of fun. Up next is the Jason Segel, Amy Adams, The Muppets movie. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't remember a damn thing about that movie whatsoever. Murder on the Orient Express, Kenneth Branagh's murder mystery film. I really enjoyed this when it came out. It was a lot of fun. And the twist at the end was one of the best twists I've seen in a film in a long time. The Night House. Rebecca Hall's The Night House. Oh, dude, if you have not seen The Night House, this is my favorite horror movie of last year, of 2021. Check it out. It is a lot of fun. It's not your typical horror film, you know, like a haunting horror film, like the trailer makes it out to be. It's more of a psychological examination of what grief does to a person. So it's a lot of fun. Jake Gyllenhaal's Nightcrawler, fantastic film. Very, very underrated. If you have not seen The Nightcrawler, this is probably the most underrated movie I have in my entire collection. I'm not gonna lie, it is so good. And then of course you gotta have the Notebook in there. I'm a big romantic film. I don't want to say connoisseur. That sounds too pretentious. I just love me a good romantic film, and The Notebook is the quintessential romance film. You guys, this is the final stretch of the Blu-ray movies. Let's get this over with. Up next, we got Quentin Tarantino's amazing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I need this on 4K. Also, the back of it, that's a better cover than the front of it. Not gonna lie. I think this is actually the cover of the 4K. Is this side right here? Yeah, no, I just love that cover. It's a big throwback to the time period that this movie took place in. I can't think of the year off the top of my head because I'm just so concerned about getting this video done. It's already at like probably 30-40 minutes, and that's just because I have so many DVDs to show you guys too, man. Yeah, I'm gonna fly through a lot of these. Ben Affleck, Pearl Harbor, very good movie. If you haven't seen it, check it the fuck out. It's very long though. It's very, very long. Parasite. We already talked about this because I have the 4K version of it. Terrific, terrific 2019 film. Parental Guidance. I bought this in the dollar bin at the dollar store. That's why I own it. I promise. Pet Sematary. Not the most faithful adaptation of a book, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. The rest of these movies I have on DVD. But yeah, we won't talk about Johnny Depp. Up next we have the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes. This is easily the best cover, but the most terribly mistitled movie ever. There is no war in this film whatsoever. They are in a prison camp the entire movie, but it's still a very good movie. Up next is the BBC miniseries Pride and Prejudice. My mom bought that, of course. She loves herself some Jane Austen, and I'm a big fan of Jane Austen too. Just not as big as a fan. Prometheus, fairly decent prequel to the original Alien. I had a lot of fun with that movie. Prince's Purple Rain, gotta have that in the collection. Puss in Boots from when I was a kid. This movie's actually pretty fun, and Antonio Banderas plays the quintessential, perfect Puss in Boots. Ready Player One, a Steven Spielberg film that is not as good as I would have hoped it would have been. We have Red 2, I believe Red 1, the first Red, we have it on DVD. Man, I fucking hate that shit for stickers when that happens. I hate it. Dude, my lighting's been off this whole time. Guys, I'm so sorry. What I do is I record on photo booth with my webcam on my MacBook, and then I pull up a notepad so the screen pretty much acts as a white light on my face, so it just lights up my face a little more because I'm poor and I don't have any lighting equipment. But yeah, Reservoir Dogs is the next film. This is my favorite, hands down favorite Quentin Tarantino film. This, Pulp Fiction, very close race, but Reservoir Dogs to me is my all-time favorite of his. Up next is Blake Lively and Jude Law's The Rhythm Section. This movie is not bad whatsoever. It's a very fun popcorn late-night action flick. It's not the greatest written thing of all time, but it's also not the worst thing ever. Saint Maud, this movie I just picked up recently, is a huge surprise and huge addition to our modern era of horror. This movie looks terrible based on the trailer, but when you actually watch it and you get invested into the film, you love it. The characters, Maud herself as a character is so weird and so interesting. I love it. Up next is the Complete Saw collection. I bought this at Half Price Books, believe it or not. And, yeah, it looks like a one. Oh, that's why. I thought we were missing a disc, because there's definitely, 7 movies on here, and there's only 4 discs. It's because they put Saw 1 and 2 on there, they put 3 through 5 on there, and then they put 6 and 7 on there. I just need to pick up Jigsaw and the most recent, Spiral, and then I'll have the whole collection. I'm not a big fan of the Saw movies outside of the first 2, but I don't know, they're dumb horror movie fun. Searching, John Cho and Searching, guys. Watch this. I'm not going to tell you what it's about whatsoever, just trust me. If you're going to take any recommendation from this video, Searching. It's kind of like Unfriended in the way that it's shot from the point of view of someone's computer, but it's not a horror movie. It's not at all. Shawshank Redemption. Gotta have that in the collection. Wish it was on 4K, but when I bought that, didn't have a 4K TV. Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. I think Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes movies are fun. They're not cinema, as Scorsese would say, but yeah. Spectre, one of the more underwhelming Daniel Craig James Bond films. Spencer, I absolutely love this movie. I'm fucking heartbroken that there's not a 4K release of this, other than on Vudu, and just buying it online for streaming. But I needed this on my shelf. I needed the spine plus this movie is just so good. You just gotta have it in your collection. Up next is Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't know, my thoughts on this trilogy have kind of changed over time. This specific trilogy of Spider-Man films within the MCU is just the longest Spider-Man origin story for Spider-Man, as opposed to in the Sam Raimi film and then Amazing Spider-Man. Those first films were the origin films. But this entire trilogy of the MCU Spider-Man with Tom Holland, it is the entire trilogy is him becoming Spider-Man, pretty much. Yes, he dons the suit and he goes by Spider-Man, but he's not really Spider-Man until, spoiler alert, Aunt May dies at the end, or in No Way Home, and he has those conversations with Andrew and Toby, and he realizes by the end of it, he leaves MJ and Ned behind because he doesn't want to put them in danger, and that's the most heroic thing he's ever done, and that is when he becomes Spider-Man. Alright, up next we got, what? We got Star Trek, is this Into Darkness? Yeah, this is Star Trek Into Darkness. You can't even really tell just because of how dark that lettering is. Jesus, but that is a pretty cool cover, not gonna lie. And then Star Trek Beyond, also another cool cover. Into Darkness, I like a lot. I remember back when that movie was first coming out, Benedict Cumberbatch, I believe is his name, that plays Khan. He was like denying that he wasn't in it. Even the director, I think it was J.J. Abrams, came out and said that no, Benedict Cumberbatch is not Khan. And then, you know, of course he is Khan. That's just hilarious to me. Up next is Lego Star Wars: The Padawan Menace. We're not even gonna talk about it. We're just gonna move on. Solo, Star Wars story, another piece of trash from the Star Wars franchise. Rogue One, a gem in the Star Wars franchise. Force Awakens, a remake gem of the Star Wars franchise. The Last Jedi, I liked it more than other people, but it's not a gem. It's more or less a, I don't know, get really stoned, throw it on, and then watch the cool lightsaber fight with Rey and Kylo at the end. That's about it. Superbad, one of the greatest quintessential comedy movies of all time. Fucking I love that movie. I'm like I said with Scott Pilgrim, I'm not the biggest Michael Cera fan, but he's hilarious in that movie. Ted Unrated, dude, this is one of my favorite comedies. Ted 1 and Ted 2, I love them both. I understand Ted 2 is not cinema, it's not the fucking greatest comedy of all time, it's not The Hangover, I get it. But it's so much fun, I love that movie. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I don't think this movie won Best Picture the year it came out, but it definitely should have. But I definitely agree. I believe all three of them won for their acting categories. Actually, maybe that's not true, because I think Harrelson and Rockwell were both nominated for supporting, and there's no way they could both win that. But I think Sam Rockwell won for that film, very deservingly. Top Gun. I haven't seen this yet. I bought it in anticipation for Top Gun Maverick, which is a sequel. And I bought this like the week before I upgraded it to 4K, so gotta upgrade this now. Alright. Toy Story 4, a sequel that I didn't think needed to be made until I saw it, and I was like, holy shit, man, this is such a good movie. Is it better than any of the other Toy Stories? No, not necessarily, but it does have a purpose in the franchise, and it, by the end of it, the message is very, very heartwarming, and I love it a lot. Whiplash. If you haven't seen this, I don't know what you're doing. What you're doing with your life. Wonder Woman, one of the better DC films. Just a little too... It should have been made a long time ago. A long time ago. World War Z, one of my favorite zombie movies. Besides Train to Busan, this is probably my favorite zombie movie. I love it to death. It is so good. Also, I'm gonna say it. Night of the Living Dead, no disrespect to George Romero, but like... It's not scary. It's a good movie, yeah, but it doesn't terrify me in the way that Train to Busan or World War Z does. So, I don't know. No disrespect to George Romero or any of his work whatsoever, but like, it's just not my thing. This is one of the best covers I have, and this is for the Wolverine. Other than the last 20 minutes of this movie, the Wolverine. If Logan hadn't come out, that would have been the best X-Men, best Wolverine movie ever. Bro, this bitch is calling me while I'm making a video, dude. Up next we got X-Men Apocalypse and X-Men Days of Future Past. I didn't get to see this one in theaters because when it came out, I did some very, very, well, not very bad things, but I did a naughty deed, and I was grounded because of it, so I couldn't go see this when it came out, unfortunately, but, yeah, X-Men Apocalypse. You can throw this on while you're like editing a video or like cutting your toenails, and it'll be fine. It's okay. I hate that sound, dude. I hate it so much. Up next is Yesterday. I don't know. This movie was... The trailer for this movie was really good and really well done. There was that most recent lawsuit, if you guys didn't know about this, that in the trailer for this movie, they showed Ana de Armas in it, just pretty much marketing that she's going to be in the film, and she's not in the movie. She was cut from it, the scene with her in it, and these two guys are taking it to court, and they might actually win it. I mean, and if they do, that'll change a lot for the film community, especially when it comes to trailers and misguiding the audience, especially with what Marvel did in their trailer for or what Sony did with their trailer for No Way Home, like editing out the two Spider-Men. It is a misleading trailer. Up next is one of Mel Brooks' most hilarious films, Young Frankenstein. I'm just laughing looking at the cover, man. It's so funny. And finally, our final Blu-ray on the list is a zombie movie that I completely forgot about when I was talking about my favorite zombie movies of all time, and that's Zombieland. Zombieland is so fucking funny. It's not necessarily scary, but it's just so funny. And then Zombieland 2, I definitely think it's a dip in quality, but it's pretty funny, just not as funny as the first one.
Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And guys, we have passed 150 subscribers. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I love you so much. Stay tuned on the channel because more content like this is coming very soon. I am working on that reading comments video. Should be out by the end of next week, and I'm so excited for you guys to see it. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.